All right, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this at the beginning of the video, but this is just your fair warning. I do a lot of swearing in this video. I wasn't gonna put it in, but I think I am gonna put it in because these are the raw feelings that I feel about myself right now. So let's get it. All right, guys, so today I have some backward sprints, I have some power skips, and I have some forward sprints, and I can't use the other gym, so I'm just gonna use baseline to opposite foul line again. And I've never done my backward sprints for time, but since I have the timing system, I might as well do it. The only issue is going to be going backwards. I can't see behind me, but I feel like if I just follow this line, then I should be able to do my backward sprints without running into this cone. So what is the point of sprinting backwards? I would say that you could definitely get away with not doing it. I don't think it's the most important thing in the world. But for one, and you're gonna have to look this up, I have not looked this up, but Knees Over Toes guy has cited a study where they had athletes do backward sprints and they actually improved their time for forward sprints. Now, I do want to say that backward sprints are in no way going to improve your forward sprints as well as forward sprints would. Like if you want to improve your sprint speed, you need to sprint. But I feel that like in a game like basketball where you're backpedaling, if you're going to go forward, if we're going laterally, like if we're doing all these different plyos, why not go backwards? And it does get me a good warm-up for my forward sprints because the speed at which I can actually sprint backwards is nowhere near the speed that I can actually sprint forwards. So it's a great warm-up, but yeah, that is why I do it. All right, since that one was slower, I am gonna call it there and get into my power skips and then my sprints. But see, backwards sprinting is just such a good warm up. And here, listen to this. And I'm making this up, but I guarantee I'm very close. The number one cause of pulling or straining your hamstring or your adductor when you're sprinting, what do you think it is? It's likely, and I don't know this, I'm making this up, but it's probably not sprinting often. Like it's you always see the old uncles who think they could beat the younger nephews in a foot race and they sprint at a picnic after not having sprinted in years, and then they pull a hamstring or they strain an adductor or something like that. But the number two cause, especially for older athletes, is not warming up properly. So backward sprints are really good, but you got to make sure that you sprint often and warm up properly before doing your sprints, especially if you're in your 30s or 40s or 50s. Come on, bro. You got to warm up. All right, so I did 3 sets of power skips as high as I could. Great exercise, especially for single leg jumpers. Now I'm going to sprint, and my previous best for this distance from baseline to opposite foul line is 3.17. So we're gonna try to beat that today. my fiance had a meeting for work and it just got moved up. So I will not have time to finish the rest of this workout. But we are gonna finish sprints, and then I think maybe I'll go home and do I really wanna hit my pistol squats. Like, I can't keep neglecting my my quad dominant stuff. Gotta love when it doesn't record your time. Guys, unfortunately, I just don't have time to hit anything else. So what I'm gonna do is some single leg chair stands. I'm gonna skip my depth jumps, my drop jumps. I think I had a couple other plyos in there, but I'm not neglecting these single leg chair stands because these are very important for me to hit for my knee right now. But first, we gotta bite his belly. You got the microphone. Yep. Okay. What do you guys think? Identical? Two. Three. Ladies and gentlemen, today is a beautiful day. Why? Because today is the last day, the last workout of the volume phase. Clap it up, clap it up. We made it. We still have to get through today's workout, which is post-chain obliteration, but we did make it. Now, you want to know something that really, really, really excites me? There are so many categories that contribute to a higher vertical jump that I'm just way down here with. Like, all of these categories, for lack of a better term, okay, my central nervous system is fried. Now I'm about to go through a taper, so that's already some potential for me to jump higher. I'm barely hitting any quad dominant work. When I actually add in an intense squat pattern, that is more potential for vertical jump. When I fix my knee pain, that is more potential for vertical jump. I'm a fat fuck, which is another category where when I continue to decrease my body fat is more potential for me to increase my vertical jump. There's so much potential for me to jump higher. But for some of us in our late 20s, in our 30s, in our 40s, in our 50s, it's very easy to think, well, I'm cooked, right? There's no hope for me, which it does obviously become increasingly harder as you get older. But when you think about all these categories, like, have you maxed out your potential in all of these different categories? Likely not, which means there's room for growth and there's room to get that bounce. Let's get it. All right, guys, so what I'm gonna do is 3 sets of 15 kettlebell swings with the same weight that I used last time, but now I'm going to add a light band. So we're gonna do some banded kettlebell swings for progressive overload. Ooh. I know that this is the last workout of the volume phase, and I know that this is supposed to be post-chain obliteration, but like the amount of post-chain that I have today, everything is 2 sets, but even still, we got kettlebell swings, Nordic curls, barbell RDLs, plate-loaded hip thrusts, seated hamstring curls, and reverse hyperextensions. Yeah, we got standing calf raises, but that is post-chain, but I don't count that as like a post-chain exercise technically. But I will say that the last time that I did plate-loaded hip thrusts, it hurt my knee just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I saved my ISOs. I'm doing all the post-chain work first. I'm actually going to do barbell or sorry, plate loaded hip thrust last. I'm going to do my isos right before that so that I get that analgesic effect in my tendons and it doesn't hurt as much when I do the hip thrust. Anyways, we're yapping. All right, so this is 275 pounds. We only got 2 sets of 10 today. I wasn't gonna progressive overload because I am killed. However, 2 sets of 10, bro. We can do 10 more pounds. Oh. No. Bro, that was 9 reps. I had 1 more rep and my grip gave out. It's very easy to see how people get discouraged whenever they're jumping lower, especially if they don't understand like what type of phase they're in. That's why I try to specify to all of my athletes that you're in a volume phase. You probably aren't going to be jumping your highest, but it's all going to pay off on the other side. But if you just go into a volume phase and you're like, damn, I'm jumping lower since I started this program, very easy to get discouraged. All right, I'm gonna hit a cluster set this time. I'm gonna hit 6 reps and then 5 reps since I missed a rep there. You wanna know one very obvious sign that your central nervous system is fried to smithereens is when you think to yourself, how much rest do I need in between sets? Is it 2 minutes? Is it 3 minutes? And then as I sit in this chair, I think, I don't think I'm gonna be ready for my next set. Like, I'm just gonna have to go, but like there is no, all right, I feel recovered enough to hit this next set. So that's a pure sign that my CNS is on its last life. I wanna see if I can get any actual reps of Nordics without my hands. Highly doubtful, but maybe. No. I think I said this last time, and after this I'll stop yapping. I'm doing a lot of yapping this video, but this is a very good Nordic setup. Like this is perfect. This is legitimately a perfect Nordic setup. This is better than me buckling a belt around my feet on a bench. This is really good. And that's very important because if you want to do Nordics, but you don't have a good setup, or like you have to put a bunch of weights on a barbell, like you can do it, but like it just becomes annoying. At least for me, it becomes really annoying if you don't have a good setup. So yeah, I just think that's important. Oh, fucking motherfucker! This is what I get for being a fat fucking piece of shit. For fucking 4 years, you fat fuck. Sorry, I apologize. Excuse the language. Do you guys ever see those videos where it's like, I think I might have said this before, but I'm gonna say it again. What women say to themselves in the mirror when they have self-talk in the morning, it's like, you are beautiful, you are enough. And then it's like what men say to themselves. It's the David Goggins voice, and it's like, you're just a bitch. That's how I feel. Just a bitch. Oh. See. Last time I did 25 pounds for 2 sets of 20. So this time I'm gonna do 30 pounds for 2 sets of 20. I got 3 sets of single leg knee extension iso, starting in the deepest range of motion, getting a little bit heavier, and then getting a little bit more shallow, 3 sets of this. Then we got a loaded lunge hold, and then I believe a loaded Spanish squat, and then we'll finish off with our barbell hip thrust when our tendons are at the most ready. My knee actually feels really good today, so I'm gonna use 45-pound dumbbells for my lunge holds, and I do think I'll be able to get my knee 1 inch from the ground, which is the goal. All right, guys, deuces to the volume phase. That does it for the volume phase. So it's funny because it's a cycle. Every time I'm in a volume phase and I feel really beat down, I'm like, man, I can't wait for the back off or I never deload. I hate deloads, but like the back off, or I can't wait for the taper. But when I'm in a back off phase and I'm hitting like 3 sets of 3 RDLs, I'm like really motivated. I'm like, man, I want to do more work. So it's like a constant back and forth. But anyways, I'm gonna be posting a video going into my computer showing you how I really manage this taper, which exercises I cut out, which exercises I lower the volume on, so that you could write your own taper if you want. I haven't really tapered before. I've always tended to just do back offs, which the difference between a back off and a taper is a taper, you go like, say, if it's a 3-week taper, you might do 80% volume, 60% volume, 50 or 40% volume. A back off, you go straight from a volume phase straight to 50% volume. So you're not tapering down in volume, you're just cutting the volume in half, which has worked for me in the past, but I want to try a taper. Anyways, this video is long enough. I've yapped long enough. I'm gonna go home and rest, recover, eat, take a nap probably. Love you all. See you tomorrow. Peace.